Congressman Mike Pence. Mike is in his fifth term representing Indiana's 6th congressional district. He was unanimously elected by House Republicans to serve as House Republican Conference Chairman. Mike, thank you very much for being with us again.
Oh, it's a great honor, Fred. You know I'm a big fan.
Well, likewise. Listen, the latest here we've just been looking at indicates that there's still a disagreement between Speaker Pelosi and the Blue Dog Democrats as to whether or not she's got the votes for the public option. What do you think?
Well, last we heard is that the public option was kind of crawling out of the grave on Capitol Hill. But, we really don't know because remarkably they have moved this project to launch a government takeover of 1/6 of the American economy behind closed doors. Yeah. I mean, literally, it should be offensive to your millions of listeners across the country and to every American that what the president promised would actually be broadcast on C-SPAN into living rooms is now taking place in the behind the sealed confines of smoke-filled rooms on Capitol Hill. But we're hearing they've got some heartburn, they've got some problems, and I pray to God those reports are right.
Yeah. Mike, what do you I know you've been all over this, and you've been providing a good, solid conservative leadership on this. Let me just ask you an open-ended question. What do you think right now, as we're getting down into the real serious business of this health care legislation, that it's important for the average American to know about what's going on there with regard to this bill and what it would mean for the average American?
Well, I think the most
whatever this bill is, combination of all that's on the table.
Yeah, I just think people back in Indiana, and I've traveled a little around the country, really get it that if you launch a massive new government-run insurance plan, whether it includes a public option or not, you're probably going to lose the health insurance you have today, and you might just lose your job. And I think it's no more complicated than that.
And why would that be the case?
Well, because look, while the administration seems focused on pressing issues like Fox News and bullying the Chamber of Commerce and health insurance. Look, most people back home that I talk to are mostly focused on the fact that unemployment is 9.8% nationwide. Businesses are struggling just to keep the lights on and the doors open. The minute that you offer a government-run plan of some kind, whether it's public option or government-controlled plan, and you say to employers, look, you have to offer insurance, but if you don't, all you have to do is pay this little 8% fee to the government. There's not a small employer worth their salt in this economy who probably isn't going to sit down and say to their employees, look, we love you, I love having you here, but we got to keep the lights on and the doors open, and so we're going to cancel the health insurance we offer, pay the minimum to the feds, and send you down the street. And I got to tell you, the town hall meetings that I did across Indiana and a few across the country, Fred, everybody gets that.
Of course.
The administration doesn't get that.
Of course, it's almost like your employer, a small business, say, if everybody all of a sudden was eligible for Medicare,
right.
And you could go through all that you do to provide insurance and the expense and the paperwork and all that, or they could go down the street and sign up for Medicare. I mean, you're gonna have more and more people going into that cheaper government system before they, probably years before they need some serious health care, at which it'll all appear differently to them, and then that'll leave the rest of the private market squeezed even more, and premiums going up, right?
Yeah, I really think it does set us on a pathway towards socialized medicine, because once you set into motion those economic forces and you have businesses canceling the health insurance that they offer, then private insurance becomes less economically viable, and then we've arrived at socialized single payer, which I frankly, I really try and discipline myself, Fred, not to speculate on people's motives. So I'll just go with what people have said out in the open, and that is they're, from the president, who I think back in 2003, you can go to YouTube and see it, openly advocated a single-payer system, though he's changed. Many Democrats would like to see us achieve single-payer. Barney Frank said about 2 months ago, he said the quickest way to get to single-payer is to launch the government-run plan.
Secretary Salibas, I think, Sebelius said the same thing the other day in terms of what her preference would be. It seems to me that what is getting through to the American people is the big picture here, and that is when we're drowning in entitlement spending now, as I like to say, a tsunami that's headed straight for us. Our response to it is to start a brand new additional entitlement. And one that is going to wind up exacerbating the problem and making the crisis come much earlier.
Yeah, I think your comment about big picture is really right, and there's a public frustration directed, when you were running nationally, you understood that it was as much directed at Republicans as Democrats. People have seen Republican and Democrat administrations and Congresses grow the welfare state, grow the entitlement state, launch a sea of red ink, and I think we've reached a genuine turning point in the national debate. And let me say, I know there's some reports in the press. I went and did a floor speech this morning. I was so irritated with some of these press reports saying that Republicans are worried about conservative talk radio hosts like you, Fred. That Republicans on Capitol Hill are worried, and that all you speak, if you read the Politico.com article, it essentially implies that conservative talk show hosts like yours truly speak for grassroots activists. I went to the floor and said, look, whether it was the million people in Washington, D.C. in September, whether it was the hundreds of thousands that came to town hall meetings, there are millions of Republicans, Democrats, and independents that are fed up with runaway federal spending, more government, and that big picture is what you understand better than most.
Well, they're trying anything that they can do, of course, to cause divisions in the ranks. Right. But you're right. It's not just Republicanism. The Republicans can be and hopefully will be the vanguard of what's going on out in the country right now. And what's going on in the country right now is that people are concerned about the direction of their government. And They worry about this economy, Mike, and I'm wondering, the president says he's going to make borrowing cheaper, but you've got all these people out here afraid to borrow money if they could.
Yeah, right. Well, you gotta admire the I don't know how to pronounce
audacity.
It. Audacity.
The audacity of hope.
The president goes and announces he's going to use some of the Wall Street bailout money now to facilitate loans to small businesses. What I said yesterday at our press conference, I said using bailout money to provide loans to small businesses while you're working on a massive government takeover of healthcare with higher taxes and mandates is like giving a guy a Christmas bonus right before you give him a pink slip.
Exactly. I saw that clip. I love it. I like mine. Mine is just like hitting a guy over the head with a frying pan and giving him an aspirin. How about just don't hit him?
How about you just don't hit me? Keep your money.
Yeah. Mike, thank you very, very much. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you being with us.
Fred. We appreciate you so much.
All right. Thank you.